Hi there, it's Frank Klesitz with Vyral Marketing, where we help you get more sales and more business from your number one asset in your business, which is your database, your past clients, centers of influence, your customers, and your leads by communicating with them and educating them with educational videos. And this is another episode of our Database Marketing Hangout where I like to interview clients and partners in the industry that are getting great results by building a database, by meeting people, asking for their contact information or gathering that contact information online, by publishing educational content, ideally video content, much like this, speaking right into a webcam consistently out to that list they're building, and then calling those people or reaching out to the people who are most engaged with that content to see if there might be an opportunity for business or a referral there. And if you learn a little more about Vyral Marketing and what we do in that plan, you can go to thedatabasereset.com. And it talks about how to round up all those emails you have in your database, possibly that neglected database, reconnect with them, and publish educational videos to stay in touch and hopefully get some business from that. Because that's what you're looking to do, hopefully grow your business. So on the show today, we have Lars Hedenborg, who's one of the top 10, top 15. Where do you rank in Remax, Lars?
I was, as of last month, 13th in the country.
So 13th in the country and Remax. And how many sales did you do last year for your brokerage?
We'll do, and so I don't run a brokerage, so my team will do like 425 sides this year.
All right, and that's incredible. So Lars, I've been very fortunate. If you've been watching a lot of these, I've been interviewing agents. Real estate agents are a big clientele of ours here at Vyral, and I hear so many different business models of way of running a business. And I'm much more of a writer and a copywriter and a guy behind the scenes. I don't necessarily like being on the phone all day long or out, prospecting is not something I would necessarily enjoy fully. And if I look at Lars's business, I love his business because it is so leveraged where he has pulled himself out completely the production. He runs his team, and really his time, his highest level activities, I would assume Lars is like what, team building, leadership, and creating the marketing message at some level. Yep. Right? So we're going to interview Lars today about how we did that. We're going to hear a story of kind of how he got into the business and how he kind of ended up getting to 420-something deals, and specifically dive deeply into one of the many pillars he has in his business, which is his database. And before that, Lars, you have an amazing product that you're launching that basically teaches everybody if they're going to learn like one little piece of your business as far as database today. But there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Tell us about this thing and feel free to explain that to everybody.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm the guy that, and Frank sort of used this word track, but I'm the entrepreneur that happened to come into real estate. So I just had my passion was never, being in front of clients. And that grew real old, real quick, working with buyers and sellers. And so I'd always, just continue to build systems in my business and get more leverage and set up compensation plans properly with my agents. All the business is still done in my name, but I don't have any day-to-day responsibility in the business. So I've just been sort of focusing on building that model out. For myself, just selfishly, I'm more of a business person. I want to be the owner of my company. And then really I kind of looked at the model, and I'm involved in masterminds, with agents and team leaders and around the country. And I just realized what I had built was very unique. The fact that my gross margins are where they are, mid 60s, 66%, so I pay my agents, they're very productive. So they make the kind of money that they want to make, but it's not because I'm overpaying them, which is 90% of teams are just overpaying their agents because they're not productive. They don't have tracking, accountability, any kind of system in place. So I kind of just figured out what I built was unique. And a couple of years ago, I built, the real estate business blueprint for real estate agents, and I founded Real Estate B School, and we're launching an online program, which I'm beyond excited about. I won't spend a lot of time talking about it, but it's basically built on 4 core building blocks. We do some marketing technology, foundational work, then we go into buyer system, listing system, team building, and business ownership. And there's about a dozen systems that we implement into agents' businesses to help them scale, and one of which is just systemizing their marketing. And a lot of my clients come in on the coaching side and they don't have a database. I mean, they don't even have I'm working with agents selling 50 to 100 homes, and they don't have a database. So starting with like, okay, let's build a database. So Frank's core product and more so the philosophy. So we use the same philosophy with our agents now. We have them build a database that they're going to market to. It's with a slightly different, it's education-based marketing. It's not with video, but it's the same fundamental concept as Vyral. And so, yeah, I mean, and just, I didn't even sort of pause to say thanks to Frank here. Just an amazing resource. If you want to leverage your database and the people that already know, like, and trust you, you've got to look into Get Vyral. It's easily a 20 times return. I track everything in my business, easily a 20 times return, putting money into something like this. And it fits my model because all of my business, the 425 plus transactions, it's all done in my name. So, and what I mean by that is when we get the customer reviews, we survey every one of our clients, and every review, and it warms my heart because I set it up this way that every review mentions my name. It says Lars and his team. Lars, I have to thank you. The Lars Group, I'm still the brand. I have that control of that lifetime value of the client, even though I'm not meeting with clients. And I'm working 1 day a week, if that. I'm going down to, maybe even less than that. So that's a long-winded answer, but it's getbschool.com is how you can take advantage of the program. We're formally launching it in mid-September. And so we're kind of getting geared up for that, but it's getbschool.com. And yeah, so it's the underbelly of real estate. How do you build a foundation where you can really scale your business quickly on about a dozen systems or so? And
you teach a lot of different 4 pillars on there. So we're going to go deeply into database today on the Database Marketing Hangout. But let's go through those pillars again. So you talked there was a buyer attraction and conversion system.
Yep.
You had a listing getting system.
Yep.
You have a database marketing system for past clients as influence.
Yeah.
I'm missing the other one. What was the other one?
Team building is a big part of it.
Team building. Give me some other pillars or other aspects of that.
Yeah, business ownership. Just how do you transition from a producer to an owner? How do you step out of production? What do you need to track? And how do you hold your team accountable? How do you manage people? How do you lead people? We go through the 5 marketing pillars and the technology bits that you'll need to sort of build in the infrastructure. Those are like the 6 core systems. And then there's retention systems, achievement systems, recruiting systems, training systems. For on the buyer side, everything from generating a lead to how you follow up and manage that lead to how you, when you meet with the person for the first time, what you say, presentations, all of that on the buyer side, lead conversion, lead generation, lead conversion, lead follow-up, leads management, client management, and what do you do with them when they're a client and post-client. And same thing on the listing side, effective, cost-efficient ways to generate listing leads, to service those leads, to get in front of them, to get them at the right price, all of it. Team building, it's every position agreement, our training manual for agents. It's a step-by-step franchise, business in a box type approach. It's a valuable, I just realized I had a valuable thing that I couldn't.
It's cool you wrote it all down because most people don't even write down their operations manual when they are successful like that. It's all in here.
Yeah.
You put it all on paper.
Yeah.
So let's say someone comes to you or they want to scale their business and they love the idea of exiting it someday. There's all these places to start, but I'm biased. Maybe you agree with me or not. But I think one of the cheapest and best ways to start that leverages the most is working that database, or at least focusing on getting those names. Agree with me, disagree? Where do you? 100%. Let's talk about that and why that is. Everything out there, all the shiny objects, but no one ever talks about database.
Yeah, and and you probably know more resources in terms of Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard is a book that everyone needs to pick up and read. That's probably, there's all these people that had a good experience with you or your sphere, people that already know you and like you and trust you that would refer business if you just gave them a reason to, or you reminded them of the value you bring to the world, right? So education-based marketing, it's also content marketing. Frank's a big direct response marketer, so it's like Dan Kennedy type stuff, like grounded, stuff that really works. I mean, a lot of agents, they come in and they think it's all about their brand. And I mean, to think that you could possibly build your name up in a sea of tens of thousands of agents in some markets is just sort of crazy. And agents they'll spend a ton of money on something like that, but they won't even have a database. You know, I have a list of now 1,500 people that have done transactions with us, had a good experience, and they're tagged in our database. And within 2 clicks, I get that list over to Vyral, and we're communicating with them on a regular basis. So it is one of 2 things. Most of my clients, there's one of 2 things. There's a buyer system. So we need to get the buyer system running so we can get agents on board, train them, hold them accountable, and get, you know, each agent selling 2 to 3 homes a month takes the pressure off of the team leader. And then it's that team leader building up their database and communicating with their database regularly. So it's one of 2 things that it's step 1 and step 2 in our prescription.
If somebody comes to you and has no database, and let's say chances are mostly our audience here at Vyral, they've been in real estate for at least some period of time where they're at. They're not necessarily brand new. So they actually have some contacts locally in the area, all right? And they have no database. What do they do?
It's a painful process, but I encourage them to realize that the amount of time they'll put in, you know, so basically I'll have them open up a Google Sheets, 4 columns, first name, last name, well, maybe 5 columns, address, email, telephone number, and then systematically go through their cell phone, go through their Facebook, reconnect with people on Facebook, LinkedIn, their Google contacts, to really just go about building that database. And then you've got the 8x8 sequence. So we use your 8x8 sequence where now you have a baseline. So that could take, we encourage people to take at least an hour a day for as long as it takes to build up the core database. Past clients, they may have to pull out 10 years worth of files and just sit in a room with an assistant, and one person's reading and one person's entering. It's painful, but that's the ultimate asset. And then when you come into contact with a new person at a networking event, or a new buyer signs a loyalty agreement, or you get a new listing, that person goes into the database and they get tagged. And now that you're increasing the number of your database. It's kind of taking info marketing. All these info marketers, I mean, the value of their business is the size of their list. And it just, some reason, like basic business principles from other industries kind of
not transcend over to real estate, did they?
Yeah, and it's crazy, and it's the low hanging fruit. But it's just like with any system we work on with our clients. It's making it a focus area for whatever period of time, you know, you'll need to think, you know, every day for 12 weeks you're going to be data entry with an admin. You know, is painful for most personality types that find themselves in real estate. High I personalities, outgoing people, to sit them down and have them do any kind of focused, task-oriented work is just painful. But if you let them know that 30% of your business, when you're doing, you know, 200 transactions, you can get 60 deals out of systemizing your marketing through database marketing and using Vyral. It's
so you go through all these people and you build like your key list of, here's like my best contacts, my A's, or people that are B's, they can probably move into A's. I can refer you, or they've done business. You probably your past clients is the best place to start to move from there, right? All the broker files. And you said there's like an 8x8 to reconnect. So you have some type of method to just reconnect with those individuals that probably haven't heard from you for years. Can you explain a little more on what you recommend there?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's straight Keller Williams 8x8 33 touch. We have a spin on it. We do a 60 touch. So once someone sort of knows us, they're in our 60 touch, which is, you know, 24 videos. There's 12 market snapshots. There's 12 direct mail pieces. There's 2 giveaways, 2 events, 2 postcards for each giveaway, 2 postcards for each event, and a call around each giveaway, a call around each event. So total those up, and it's 60 touches. So once someone goes through 8 touches in 8 weeks, so that's straight MREA, millionaire real estate agent, they don't know you, to 8 weeks later, they're like, oh, this guy is in my head as a real estate agent.
Yeah, so some type of reconnect message, like an email, phone touch, whatever.
And so I think you even have that online. I think that's one of your free giveaways on Get Vyral.
Yep.
Yeah, so they can.
Yeah, and if you go to the databasereset.com, and I don't have the full 8 sequence, but it's just one simple reconnect email.
Yeah.
And you can get that in that ebook. But yeah, so you reconnect with them. All
Yep.
right. Where do you put them all? You just keep them on a spreadsheet?
No, we have all ours in. It doesn't. This is the ultimate debate, and this is what really gets agents screwed up. Is picking a CRM, contact customer relationship management system, some sort of. We use Top Producer. I've used Top Producer forever. Some agents sort of like to not like Top Producer. I don't really get it. There are other tools out there. I recommend Top Producer. I have no affiliation with Top Producer. It's set up to do real estate, and it's very easy for your admin to understand. It's easy to build, and it's a CEM as well, a customer experience management system. If you want to design an experience and you're leveraging yourself through systems, you need to be able to have other people execute that transaction or that lead follow-up or whatever you want to happen before a listing appointment, after a listing appointment. You put it into Top Producer and into an action plan, and it happens. So so we just input them in Top Producer. There's contact type, and so we just tag it as Raving Fan Club, and then now they're communicated with every time we're gonna send something out to our database. It's like 2 clicks. I can go in and export to send off to you guys for the videos, or if we're gonna do a Zillow review contest, we just export to MailChimp, or we could print labels, or we could do envelopes, and we could do market snapshot within Top Producer. So it just makes it so easy. I mean, if you don't have a database now, get Top Producer, don't overthink it, and just start that process of building out your database. And that database is going to make you, I'd argue that the amount of effort an hour you put into your database is probably worth $500 to $1,000 an hour long term.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about building it. So we talked about a little bit reconnecting with it and what do you do with it. What about like proactively like building it yourself, but in your case, holding others accountable to build it? To get email addresses, both proactively in the real world, but also maybe online, and how you bring those in. Want to talk about building the list?
Yeah, so for us, we have plenty of ongoing lead generation. On the buyer side, we do Boomtown, we do Zillow. We have folks that are, going to our yards of our listings and they're doing something there. They're calling a sign or they're going on to a website asking for more information on our property. So all that becomes part of the database. Same thing on the listing side. When someone calls in, if they're not ready to list, we're taking down their email address and we're putting them into a process where they're going to receive valuable information from us. And it's just having a conscious effort around, if the worst case, when a buyer calls you, you get a yard sign call, you have to get that person's contact information and make them part of your database. And so it's just having a focus on every person you come into contact with in any context is now someone that could potentially bring you business. So if you're talking to a waiter or waitress or your hairdresser, or you're talking to anyone you could think of, someone at church, there's so many opportunities, and there's lots of, if you Google building a sphere of influence, you could pull up there's like 12 categories that you basically need to kind of go through. Like, who do I know at church? Who do I know on the softball team? Who do I know at prior?
Yeah, memory jogger.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it's just your ability to scale your business, right, and build a database as the center of your business. You need to be willing to do what most agents are going to hear this and be like, shit, if I'm going to sit down 1 hour a day and be stuck in front of a computer entering names, you can hire a part-time college student to do it, to do the admin part for you. But it's the agents that'll actually take action on stuff like this. There's nothing complicated that I do in my business, so it's just putting these dozen systems in place that I teach in Real Estate B School, and just putting them all in place and just having them sort of compound. It's total compound effect. So it's nothing difficult, but it's actually getting them to commit and so having some sort of personal productivity system. Not to get too off track, but having a way that you decide what you're going to do every day. That's like one of the first things we teach.
I got a copy of this. from Buddy Blake. So I guess this is going to be some type of engagement system. You have something too, Lars, right?
What's that?
Like a personal accountability system to remind yourself to build your list and go make contacts and how many calls did you make or something to that effect, right?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff I deal with is more systems based. Like, how can we move your business? It's not as much helping you go from 20 sides to 40 sides through daily productivity. Mm-hmm. How do you go from 20 to 40 to 80 to 160 to 320? You know, so I want someone who has big plans for where they want their business to go. And daily productivity, you know, I just have a different spin on daily productivity than a, you know, how many dials did I make today?
Sure.
You know.
So let's move on to the 60 touch plan that you have in place and drill down a little deeper on this.
Yeah.
So let's go through again. What were those 60 touches again?
Yeah. So we start off with Vyral 24. So
and that's 2 short educational videos a month, emailed, social media out to all the emails you got.
Yep.
All right. What else?
Yeah. Sometimes you get annoyed when we send it to every email we have because we have like 40,000 emails. And
yeah, it's a lot of emails.
Yeah. So if you become a Vyral client, we're not going to let you do that.
That's too many. But okay.
So it's got to be meaningful contacts. So that's 24, and then we do market snapshot. So that's part of Top Producer. Build your database in Top Producer. If you don't have a database, just get Top Producer today, and get.
So everybody gets that. Past client sphere. Everybody gets the monthly market snapshot update.
Yeah, anyone who lives within our MLS, because you can only connect it to one MLS. So anyone that we know that we've done business with or is somehow in our sphere or you know, we have their email address and their physical address, they'll get set up on a market snapshot.
Okay. What else?
So that's 36. Then there's a direct mail piece.
Once a month?
Once a month.
And how many people does that go to? What's the cost of that and what is it?
It ranges from a newsletter, 4-page color newsletter, to postcards, holiday greetings postcard, a spring cleaning postcard, the jumbo, you know, big postcards. Around the that's basically it. 8 postcards, 4 newsletters. Sometimes we've done 12 postcards, but it's
who writes all that and designs it and does all the work?
It's all preset before the year starts. So that's another thing too. You can't rely, once you put a touch program in place, you can't rely on you as the person doing everything to remember or you've got to design the program and just get someone to run it or somehow commit to making it happen. So I've got a graphics guy who's been working with forever that he's designed a library of stuff for us. He designs everything. And, you know, so the front is, it's all USP, direct response, sort of branded, but there's always offers in it. So it's always lead gen type stuff.
Is there, is that mailing to the 1,400 past clients then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that goes to 1,400.
Yeah, and we print. I mean, at that volume, I mean, we print them for 6 or 7 cents. We bulk mail them, you know, for 22 cents. So there's some labor in there, but I think it's about 50 cents out the door.
It all comes down to.
Yeah.
Great. What else? 12 direct mail pieces, 12 target snapshots, 24 emails.
So that's 48, and then we do 2 giveaways. So we do Valentine's chocolates and Thanksgiving pies. So around each of those, there's 2 postcards. So 3 weeks prior, we send out a postcard. 2 weeks prior, we call. And then 1 week prior, we send out another postcard.
Who's calling? Is that your independent contract agents or is that someone dedicated W-2?
We've outsourced it. I brought on a virtual person to do it, script-based, and I've done it, someone internally, just load the numbers into a dialer and they just call.
Yeah, not much. Maybe $10 an hour for that, I would think.
Simple. Yeah, super simple.
Okay. What are your thoughts on hiring somebody to call your database on your behalf that's hourly all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I actually considered that, like putting someone in charge, having a raving fan club manager, and kind of, you know, that's the potential downfall for even something like Vyral, right? So they get the open click reports. They find out of their database of 200 people, 47 people opened the email and clicked on the home value report,
yeah.
Right? And then they don't do anything with it. You know, so if you're depending on size and your budget, you've got to be able to do something with that information. So For us, it's 4 times a year. We committed to 4 calls a year, and we can get it done with, even Jessica on my team gets it done.
That's your agents make those calls?
No, it's a staff member.
Staff member, so employee.
Yeah.
Got it. And they're just calling on behalf of Lars asked me to call you, and Lars Group wanted me to say. And
yeah, it's exactly like, so it's all authority based. I'm the brand. So Lars wanted to let you know that we're giving away a box of chocolates again this year. Can we count you in for one? You can either pick it up or we'll deliver it.
Cool.
Yep. And so that's 3 touches per giveaway. So that's 6.
Any events you do?
Yeah. So that's 6 more. And then there's an event, baseball game in May. So it's February Valentine's giveaway, May baseball event, 2 postcards and a call. So that's another 3 touches. And then Thanksgiving pies, and there's a fall festival we do. We rent out a big tent at a local farm, pumpkin giveaway, barbecue. We had like 300 people attend. Both the baseball.
That's pretty good, man. 300 people.
Yeah, it's awesome. We do giveaways and we do the Zillow reviews. We have iPads, going where they can give us Zillow reviews and those things. So we kind of leverage those events. So that's another 3. So 24 videos, 12 market snapshots, 12 direct mail pieces, 8 postcards around the giveaways and events, and 4 phone calls.
So in a year, with the viral fee and everything else and the mailing fees, what are you spending a year, or maybe what is it a month, on that?
Yeah, so if you didn't, the most expensive part for us is the amount of people we have coming to the client events. So I could drop 10 grand on an event. If you just did 4 giveaways, surprisingly, only about 10-15% of your database will take you up on the offer to get a pie or to get a box of chocolates, but you still get the credit for offering it. So that's the cool thing, is we probably give away 100 pies, but we offer it to 1,000 people. So yeah, so I mean, the pies are $7 each. The chocolates are $7 each. We organize it all with labor that's already already in our P&L. The events are more expensive. The cards are, database is $1,400 at 50 cents. So there's some mail in there, but we're probably at about all in $2,500 a month, with maybe 3,000 with the events included. 36.
Let's call it 36,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's simple. Okay. So everything you said here, 36,000 a year.
Yep.
How do you measure ROI if someone comes to your database? Like, I know you have a spreadsheet of here's all the lead sources that we spend money on, and then you always try to assign the closing amount or the commission is to one of those very specific columns.
Yep.
When you're interviewing the person when they close, how do you know what column to put them in? How do you know that it's the database column you want to assign that revenue to?
Yeah, and so we have lead sources for. I don't track it to a market snapshot versus a postcard versus a video. So I do account for the total spend, and we just track the results. So right now, so it's probably the area of my business that has the least granular tracking, but the returns are the highest. So 112 sides out of 267 can be attributed to people that knew us, liked us, and trusted us coming into the year.
Okay.
112 out of 267, whatever. I think it's about 35%, somewhere in there.
It's a pretty good number for a database.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So if you spend 36,000, you want at least a 10-time return, which is 360,000. Are you still pulling the 40-time return from the last time we talked on that?
So it's about 40% of our transactions. Let me pull up the exact numbers.
Yeah, so 10x ROI would be if you spent $36,000 on this program a year later, whatever, you would make $360,000 of GCI.
Yeah,
you were like 4 times that or something ridiculous, like almost over $1 million.
Yeah, so my gross, so it depends on, some people measure ROI with top line sales. So my gross, using gross margin after my agents are paid, we're at 532 to the company.
Company dollar.
Yeah, so if you double it by, we pay out, 33%. But even if you double that, it's over $1 million GCI that cost.
That's how you should do it. I mean, do you do it on company dollar after you pay the agents, or you do it on top line?
I do it on company dollar. So after we pay the agents.
That's conservative. That's great.
Yeah, but it has to, I mean, as a business owner, it should be that way, because even if you're evaluating taking yourself out of production, you need to know, you need to look at sort of what you're paying your agents, or what you would, how you would consider taking yourself out of production, and how that might fit the numbers. But even on that,
I hope everyone caught that accounting conversation we just had.
Yeah, but yeah, so 530 on 36 spends, so it's about 15 times return on a true cash on cash return.
And then on total revenue, what's that?
Yeah, so total revenue, it's about 30 times.
30 times. Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
And there's a couple expensive events in there. So, I mean, you could probably be as effective without those events and just do 4 giveaways.
Yeah, because I think I put 40 down, but it will put down 30, so I'll correct that in the headline. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn good. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into the calling. I mean, your agents how do you get your agents to call their database? Is it a blend of 100% agents calling the database? Or obviously you have someone that you've hired just to call a company database?
Yeah,
let's talk about how to get people to call their database or call those open and click reports.
Yeah, so we have a combination of people that are our staff. So we've got one person actually 2 people. So if a transaction closes, we launch a 5-year plan. And so part of the natural, they're going to get 4 calls a year as a part of this program, just being a client with us. So that's going to happen as a result of that plan. And then even when a new agent starts with our team, we're right into database right away. So they get the viral videos, but we do monthly call nights with our agents. So it's just a different form of database marketing, but we're having them build their database where their first day they're coming to the team with 50 SOI. With 50 people that already know, like, and trust them to start out. And their goal is to build that and identify the people that are really referring business to them, where they might build their list of 50 to 200 over the course of a year, but they've identified 20 people that have actually referred business to them. So they're treating those people differently. And that's just through accountability. We have they manage that out of Boomtown, and we're able to pull up Boomtown, their SOI, and we can see that that they've made their calls or they haven't made their calls.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to sort it in Boomtown, and you can see if they've made their calls in the last 30 days or 60 days, and they just reverse sort it, where if they haven't logged a call in 60 days, they start with those people first. The same thing with past clients. So they have access to their past clients where they're just calling their past clients.
What do you say to a past client when you call them up out of the blue randomly?
I think there's 2 approaches.
11 a.m. on a Wednesday, and you're calling some guy you sold a house to 3 years ago. What do you say?
I mean, I think there's 2 approaches to it. If you've been bad connecting with your database, I think you have to be honest with the person you're calling. Hey, Frank, this is Lars. I know, it's been 3 years since we did a transaction together. I've made a commitment to sort of serve my past clients at a different level. And I have some big goals, for my business. And so I've got a couple things. I just want to let you know, I'm going to be sending out these 2 videos every month. I want to get you started on Market Snapshot, but also I need your help. If you know anyone looking to buy or sell, I need you to refer them to me. And so I think I personally like that approach because it's honest. And then you're calling them quarterly, where we're always leading with giving something away. So we're inviting them to a baseball game or giving a pie away. Even if they don't accept it, it's an easier call to make. That's why I like that approach, especially with me out of it. Anybody could call and make that call. Hey, Lars asked me to call you. He's giving you an apple pie. You want apple or pumpkin? That's not a hard script for someone to do for, $10 an hour. Or the other approach, which I don't like, but everyone trains on, is the 100-year-old Ford technique. You call them, hey, how's the family? How's your job going? Your occupation.
I bet you want to stab your eyes out when you say that.
Recreation and dreams. There are coaches that still teach that.
Yeah. I don't think I could do that. I like the previous one.
Yeah, right. Just hit them straight with it. Sorry, I've sucked at keeping in touch with you. I'm going to do a better job. You're going to get these things. and I'm going to call you every quarter with a giveaway or an invite to an event. Is that cool? Yeah. Okay, great. So make sure you send your referrals my way.
Great.
Yeah, it's not complicated. It's just doing it. You know, if you commit to building the database and doing those things, your business is on fire.
So we talked about reconnecting with your list, building your list, communicating with your list, and then proactively working it with phone calls, not waiting for the business to come to you, being proactive. But you said something so much earlier here, which I want to go deeper on, is how valuable this asset is. It's how valuable the database is, that in all these other industries, that is the business. People pay huge sums of money to buy businesses just for that.
Yeah.
Right? But it seems in real estate that that's just overlooked for cold leads or whatever it may be, you know, or forgetting about it. Co-marketing partners and sponsors and MSAs and vendors agreements, where basically you work with other people to give them access to that database, and other ways to monetize it to help offset some of the marketing costs. Could you share with us some insight on that?
Yeah, that's a touchy subject right now. So I don't really know what, there's some major shifts going on in that world as far as just MSAs go. So most banks like Bank of America and Wells Fargo have pulled out completely of all their MSAs. So it's just a tricky environment. Attorneys have ethics rules that are pretty specific around it. They can still co-market and advertise, so there's ways around it, but
it is a gray area, at least taking money to sell access to it where you co-market for, right?
Yeah, so it's not something that many people are willing to give advice on right now, because it's something that is more and more of it is going away.
Got it. We want your feedback on this. One of the tabs we have on our website is called Zero Cost. And from what I was told is that as long as somebody on the closing sheet has active participation in the marketing, they could pay up to half. So for example, our fee is $550 a month.
Yep.
And if you included, let's say, your lender in one of your 2 videos and you included them on the website and you invited them, let's say, into the back end of the email marketing account, you know, you're in a safe place if they could pay half, because they're arguably half of that, right? Yeah. And you're, you know, and then what you could even do is to find somebody that's not on the closing statement, like a plumber, right, to pay the other half. And you have the whole thing offset, because what you're doing is you're helping them market and including them into the exposure to your database.
Yeah.
Have you heard anyone doing that? I think that's what I've been heard is a safer play for, like, at least in the real estate space with all the what's called the RESPA laws, to be able to do something like that.
Right. And there are definitely ways to do it. It happens in every other industry. So I know there are going to be workarounds, and the banks are going to, you know, hopefully stop freaking out at some point. But yeah, as long as, I mean, we've had vendors who couldn't give us money that advertised in our newsletter, and we had a third party build a newsletter and pay them directly, and they're literally buying an advertising block for the price they would normally pay to be in that newsletter, or on
which is done correctly, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. So
versus charging a lender $10,000 a month rent for a place in your office.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay. So the other thing too is money doesn't even necessarily need to change hands. It could be, look, you know, I'll promote you to my list, or I'll, you know, recommend you and endorse you to the people that I know. And then in return, you too, co-marketing partner, you too, other professional, you too, other business owner, have a database. Could you maybe, you know, put that interview or put our piece of content on your social media or mail out to your list or whatever it may be? And money doesn't need to exchange hands, but there is value exchanging hands there. And that's kind of the idea of zero costing, or one of the options when you have your list, whether you're in real estate or not, there's different laws in different industries, is just you have your own database, but also can you get access to other people's databases through them by creating something of value together. That's kind of essentially what we're doing on this Hangout. You know, you'll have people at Vyral Marketing that watch that, and you're going to have your clients that are going to see this.
And I think that's the more powerful approach. When you look, I mean, when you look at, imagine, and I've not spent a bunch of time on it, but if I was working in my business 5 days a week, I would put a bunch of effort into finding 20 business owners that we could do that with.
The local Chamber of Commerce list.
Yeah.
That's where you start. And there's actually an email up on our website called the Zero Cost tab, which is like a little. Remember those seller lead generation emails I wrote for you, Lars? That plain text drives them back to an opt-in, get response.
Yeah, we just sent one out like 2 weeks ago.
Good, great. So it's a plain text email, basically drives them to go do something, right? And you get a lot of response from those. You can't do them all the time. You do them every now and then. I wrote one under the zero cost tab to find sponsors or co-marketing partners that want to be involved in local community interviews with you. And people replied back saying, I'd love to be a guest on your blog.
Yeah.
Right. And what we found is if you really don't know anybody who want to be a guest or could add value to an interview, is if you go to local chamber of commerce, they usually publish a list of all the chamber members. And the chamber members are usually players. Like these are like the founders or like the person way up in business development. That's actually the contact to make relationships with other business owners.
Yeah,
so
right.
Like, you don't have to like navigate the firm to find out who's interested or go to Yelp and find a bunch of business owners that have no desire to grow their business or partner with you. Like the people in the Chamber of Commerce list is like the best co-marketing prospect list ever to reach out to. So I want to give that a little tip here.
Yeah, and that's the same with anything. Like people will buy a $5,000 a month thing before they'll build out a strategy like that. I mean, if you put a year's worth of effort into building that could be a 50 deal a year pillar in your business where you're just recommending other people's services as, you know, the return on that is your time and there's not additional expenses. Maybe you host a quarterly lunch for a group like that.
A little mastermind. You basically will end up kind of becoming their coach because if you're a real estate agent, you are a professional and sales and marketing person. That's what people pay you. Your sales and marketing expertise. And usually most of those business owners don't have the level of marketing knowledge or sales knowledge you do, and you're going to coaching them.
Yeah, it's like a structured, I mean, it's like a structured sphere of influence where you're really looking for the right dozen players that you can refer a couple, 3 deals a year, you know, back and forth to each other.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I want to share that is that, you know, we touched upon the value of that database. And if you're interested in co-marketing or sponsoring, and, you know, obviously the laws if you're interested with the money, but the money is not important. What's important is the relationship and sharing ideas and partnering up with others to add value to both each other's lists. Make sense?
Yep.
Check out that zero cost tab on our website. That's something I want to share a lot more about. And let's move on to something else here. Move on to another thing.
Yeah.
Not only do you use it in your real estate business to build your list, communicate with it, follow up, and then there's ways to, you know, cross promote with other people like we talked about, but you're also using it for recruiting. You're also using it to share what you're doing in your office, to add value to agents and to communicate your value proposition in the marketplace for where talented people want to work to come work for you. So why don't you share a little bit about your strategy behind that and the concepts of a recruiting blog, and why would you publish videos on that, or what's the idea behind that philosophically?
Yeah, right. It's the same in the info marketing space. You know, when we're trying to identify people that want to join my coaching business, it's the same: give away as much good stuff as you can. And so it's content marketing. So twice a month, same exact format. We'll give maybe every 4th video is a direct call to action. We need agents to join our team, but there's 3. Like, here is the daily productivity planner that we use. And I'll do a 3 or 4 minute video and I'll walk through and I'll put a link to that actual downloadable PDF that there's 6, 7, 8,000 agents in my market where maybe 100 agents actually start using it. Maybe 10 agents reach out to us at some point because I added value to their life. So same exact, and it's almost easier in the recruiting space, in the agent space, because most agents aren't using a lot of tools. You could say, here's a listing addendum that I use, you know, that's really good. It has a pricing strategy in it. Or this is the checklist that I give, you know, sellers when they want to prep their home for sale. I mean, there's so many little things you can give away to agents in your market where the worst case is you're making them better agents, you know, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's good if, you know, we elevate our industry.
And they like you on the other side of the transaction.
Yeah, right. Just coming from a position of abundance. So, you know, I don't know if you're advertising the recruiting blog or.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one of the things I really want to share is that, you know, yes, there's ways to zero cost the marketing or bring in co-marketing sponsors.
Yeah.
And we have little coaching groups forming on the back end. We actually have about 7 clients we're taking through building a list of actually 20 people, to be honest with you, and reaching out to those people and co-market with them.
Yeah.
And then recruiting, we have some brokers that get together every month and we talk about how we could take the same concept of the viral marketing plan, the database reset, and apply it to publishing business information, self-help, personal development, whatever it may be, about how to become a productive salesperson to the community. And yeah, I would love to do those. So that's kind of like we're really good in real estate, and like our next industry that we really want to do well in is still within real estate, but it's recruiting. So I think recruiting can be done really well. What's your recruiting blog where people can check out the stuff you publish?
It is, what is it? It is Real Estate Careers. Let me check it out here.
Real Estate Careers in Charlotte, Real Estate Careers, realestatecareersincharlotte.com.
Let me see. Real Estate Careers in Charlotte. Yeah, it's actually realestatecareersincharlotte.blogspot.com.
Good. So realestatecareersincharlotte.blogspot.com, and people can go there and learn everything they want to know about your team.
Yep.
Right? Good.
Yeah. So that's from a recruiting standpoint. Yep.
Yeah. And the other thing too, which we should do if we're not already, just as a reminder, is to be calling and interviewing your agents on why they're there and publishing those interviews on your site.
Yeah.
That's huge. And we have the service that will do that. Just with the script, we'll call them on a recorded phone line, interview them, edit the audio so it sounds pretty cool with some music, edit out the interviewer so it's all like them talking.
Yeah. And
then we'll transcribe it and put it up on your site.
And I want to get into that on that co-marketing thing too, where I'm not in that group.
Okay. It's kind of super secret now. We're testing it out, but I'll tell you more about it afterwards.
Well, that's a killer. I mean, that's a killer strategy. That's 100% guaranteed if you work it hard for a year.
If you work it.
It's
something where it's going to depend upon the person working it.
Yep.
What I see people spending money on advertising going up in great economies and co-marketing down here. And then come a bad economy, it's going to go just like this.
Yeah.
You know? So, all right. So you do it well with recruiting. That works really well. How else could someone use video in their business? So if we're talking about video in general, what else?
We still publish videos on all our listings.
So you take a listing, someone goes out, you do drone videos, you do walkthroughs. How does that work?
We stitch them. We use listings to leads, and we stitch the videos together. So it's take 25 images, put music behind it. We've got calls to actions on the side of it, and that just goes right to our team YouTube page. So it gives us, and it's clickable back to the website, and that all happens automatically in listings to leads.
Do you ask the seller to post it on their Facebook?
We don't. We don't. We could or we should, but we don't do that.
Okay. Because I think that's another database too. In the concept of database, you have your database, you have co-marketing partners database. But when you go to that seller, you're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I got this database I can promote this to. But so do you. Look, let's connect on Facebook. Look all the friends you have, LinkedIn connections. Let's let people know your home's for sale. Yeah. Right? Which is kind of like an implied endorsement when they mention that about you to their list. There's something someone could potentially work in the listing process.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about that video there. Is there anything else? Any other last tip? Well, let's instead of going deeper on that, let's talk to clients at Vyral Marketing. Client Vyral Marketing, they're committed. They want to get good results. What do they need to do to be successful when they commit to this? So your clients that have hired us, talk to them. They want to succeed at this. What do they got to know?
I think a lot of people in our industry, they look for instant gratification, instant results. So the process of beginning to build a database and just getting through that initial painful process of building the database and just time blocking. So don't look at the big monumental task of going through your Facebook or going through your phone or going through your Google contacts or LinkedIn or whatnot. I think it's taking it bite-sized and just committing a little bit of time every day. It's database marketing is the time block, and every day you're going to do a little bit to build out your database. And just realize that there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit as you scale your business. So that's where I come in. Hopefully, as you scale your business, it's going to be more and more of your business. And so it's tough. It's tough to look at where you're at today with no database or a very disorganized database, or you have only part of your past clients and your sphere hasn't been updated in years, or the database has sort of, dried out. You just got to look past that at what's possible and then make it part of your action plan. So when a lead comes in, they turn into a client, they turn into a closing, make sure they're going into the right buckets and they're tagged. So decide that you draw a line in the sand that you're going to do business differently a certain way, and use top producer and use the contact types and tag them appropriately. And then you're going to fill in going back. Maybe I take 2015 files and get those past clients, and then 2014 and 13 and 12, and then go to the storage facility and get the last 5 years. And just systematically going back, and then put a new contact sequence in place. So when you meet someone anywhere, you can put them into your mobile device. I mean, you can pull up top producer on your handheld, enter a contact type, and launch a plan, an 8x8 new contact plan. And then once they're done with that plan, the last step is to tag them as Raving Fan Club or whatever. So it's just systematically, everything is just systematically doing, and just deciding that your business is only going to have 5 things you're doing. You're doing viral lead gen, you're doing database marketing, you're doing yard marketing, you're doing some kind of farming, expired FSBOs, circle prospecting, geographic farming. That's it.
Great. This is great, Lars. Great hangout. Every time I have you as a guest, you just bring your A game. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want to take a few last minutes for anyone who maybe still be watching. Just tell me a little more about this course that you have again, and recap on it for maybe someone that hasn't joined us.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I run this pretty cool business, centered in Charlotte, North Carolina. I built it to the point where it's just leverage and it's profitable, and my agents are super productive, and I track everything, and everyone's held accountable, and real systems driven, true business. I could literally not show up for a year, and I'm pretty sure we would execute our growth plans in the next year without me in the office at all. So it's just a purely leveraged business. And I've basically taken that business as a model and said, if I could sit you down for 20 hours, so the online training is roughly 20 hours long. It's 8 modules, with 5 sort of sessions per module. And so if I could sit you down for 20 hours and tell you exactly what I did to build my business, system by system, skill set by skill set, strategy by strategy, presentations, listing packets, all the tracking tools, my business tracker that most of you have probably seen before, everything you need to run your business. So all the tools, and there's probably 200 documents. I think it's actually over 300 documents now that you get, plus me sitting you down for 20 hours and taking you through it all. That's what Real Estate B School Online is. And so we're formally launching it in the middle of September, but you can get access or early access to it. It's just go to getbschool.com. So GETB school.com. And B School is like any other, Harvard has a B School, Wharton has a B School. This is just a business school for real estate agents. So it's teaching you the business side of real estate so you can put the systems in place and ultimately scale it and get the heck out of it. So, if you want to have the same year and be subject to whatever happens in the market, and you're just kind of going into the same year hoping that your business gets better, this is just a different way, and it's using my business as the model. What I do also is that I tell you exactly what I did wrong. I firmly believe that I wasted probably a couple years and over $500,000 spending money on things that are not worth it. So we are marketed to so heavily. So in this online course, I go through exactly the lead gen pillars that you need to focus on the buy side, on the listing side, from a marketing perspective, from a technology perspective, from a mindset perspective. Team building includes all the recruiting and training platforms, the accountability, how do you step out of production, and then some high performance tactics and strategies that you should be using as well. All the time management, personal productivity, the business tracker. I effectively paid $10,000 to have this business tracker built for me. And that business tracker is included as part of B School Online. So I paid 10 grand because I needed it for my business, and I'm including it in B School. So it's go to getbschool.com and you'll find out all about it.
Great. Go get it. It's good.
Yeah.
And especially in it because it recommends Vyral, which I love even more. So, Lars,
Yeah.
I want to appreciate you so much for your time today, man. And for anyone looking more about Vyral, about building a database, check out getvyral.com, GETVYRAL, or more specifically, the marketing plan that we execute for you, where you should start is the database reset of how to reconnect with your neglected customer database, contact database to increase sales. And I outlined it all in a nice little 20-page document for you. So Lars, thank you. And thank you everyone for coming. I will see you on the next Database Marketing Hangout.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.